and welcome to another video to teach you about the wonderful world of Latin and cooking with Apicius. Now today's recipe is going to be milk-infused bread with honey. To make this, you break up the crust of wheat bread and make large bite-sized chunks. Then you wet them in milk, fry them in oil, and then you pour honey over them and you serve them. To do this, I took 2 rolls and ripped them up into some chunks and dipped them into some whole milk. Now, made sure to get some milk in there because if there's not milk on it, it's going to be just bread and honey in the end. But you don't need tons of milk. You do need to make sure this bread has crust because that helps hold it together as you go through all the rest of this. After you dip it in the milk, you put it in the oil. It's going to fry. It needs to cook for a little bit. It doesn't totally matter how hot or really hot the oil is. It just needs to be hot so that it fries. Then you fry the bread for a little bit. You don't want it to get really crunchy at any part because that has an odd texture to it that's not going to be that delightful. So after you take it out of the frying pan, you set it aside on a plate. Then fill up the frying pan with more of the bread and milk. Then cover this fried bread with a whole lot of honey so that it gets that nice sweet taste. How is this gonna taste? Better than I expected. It has a taste and texture a lot like bread pudding. It has some parts that might be a little bit mushy if there aren't any crust, but it doesn't really have much of an aftertaste, and it doesn't really have a heavy stinking feeling that you just ate a huge rich dessert. It tastes pretty good and it's pretty healthy, at least considering that it's a dessert.